Hello, my friends. My name is Irvin, also known as Kopoman. Today we're talking about Hyper-V. What is Hyper-V? Let me show you what Hyper-V is. Hyper-V Manager is a Microsoft version of a virtual machine creating software. And that sounds kind of funny, but basically it allows you to create a virtual machine of any operating system, test it out, and basically for experimenting. But you can also use it as something that runs on your machine, and that way you can create multiple virtual machines, this and that. Anyways, we're going to test that out. I don't have a whole lot of experience with this, so I'm going to be learning with you guys as well. I normally use Oracle VM, a virtual machine VirtualBox for this type of stuff, so I'll be learning as well. This does not come installed by default on Windows machines, so you have to basically go inside of your add remove programs. Let's see, where is that? Programs and features, and then you have to turn Windows features on and off. So once you go in here, you have to find Hyper-V, select it, make sure it's selected, click OK, and then it's going to update it and restart your machine, and then you will have Hyper-V installed. All right, let's have a look at Hyper-V, what we have here. And it looks like there are options here to quick create, which I'm assuming allows you to create a quick virtual machine, which is cool. But let's look at the Hyper-V settings here. So what we have. Once we select this here, the first thing that we see is that it's asking you to specify location of virtual disk. This is the default location for the virtual hard disk, and you can change this if you want, but I'm pretty happy with the settings here. It looks like it creates a specific folder for it inside of documents, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Next thing down is the location of, or the installation of your actual virtual machine, and looks like the default folder is set to Windows Hyper-V. Again, I'm okay with that because it created a separate folder for that, so it's not gonna have files all over the place, which is pretty expected. Third thing down is physical GPUs, and looks like you can select different GPU for it, which is pretty cool actually. And use this GPU with the remote FX. Okay, that's cool. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Of course, if you have another GPU, you can certainly do so. So here's actually a pretty good thing here. So if you have a GPU installed, you can still just select this one, which is the onboard embedded into the processor. So you can just run it off of that instead of using your main GPU, which is pretty cool. NUMA spanning. I don't know what this is. You can configure Hyper-V to allow virtual machines to span non-uniform memory architecture. Oh, okay, that's what that is. When the physical computer has NUMA modes, this setting provides virtual machines with additional computing resources. Okay, so that's what that does. It allows you to run more virtual machines at the same time. Allow virtual machines to span... Okay, well, that's cool. I'm not 100% sure what that is. If somebody's more familiar about this, please let me know in the comments below. I really would like to learn more about this. But it basically looks like it allows you to run, more virtual machines at the same time, which is cool. Storage migration. You can specify how many storage migrations can be performed at the same time on this computer. So this basically allows simultaneous storage migrations are allowed. So 2. Okay, well, that's fine. That's just self-explanatory. There's really nothing to talk about that. Enhanced session mode policy. You can configure Hyper-V to allow enhanced session mode connections to virtual machines running on this server. So enhanced session mode allows redirect of local devices and resources from a computer running virtual machine. So basically what it does, it allows you to use all the peripherals, all the extensions of all the software or all the hardware that's also installed, I should say, on your computer. So it's an extension of that. Basically, if you want to use internet, this allows you to do so. Basically, we'll create an extension of your adapter, for example, here. You know what I mean? So that's what that allows. Enhanced session mode requires a supported guest operating system. It may require additional configure. Anyways, so that's what that does. The other option here is use of keyboard. Lets you basically use physical computer, use the virtual machine type of keyboard that you want. Mouse release key, enhanced session mode. And how do you want to configure virtual machine connections to operate when enhanced session mode is available in guest operating system? So this is kind of what I talked about earlier. Okay, and the last thing here is just lets you to reset everything there. Okay, I'm just going to leave that at default, and I'm assuming there's going to be more stuff to do when it comes to setup. So let's go to quick create. I apologize, guys. It's one of those days where it's just like I may have had too much coffee or not enough coffee. We'll see. So the first option that comes up is installing a virtual machine that basically does the MSIX packaging tool. Allows you to update the existing Windows 32 application installers to the MSIX format. Simply launch MSI package tool from the start menu to get started. So this is used basically to update all the applications that you have packaged yourself. You know, if you want to make if you want to make changes or additions to the software that you've packaged before, this is what that virtual machine does. Another option here is to install Ubuntu 18.04. The other option is 19.04. And then we have Windows 10 dev environment. For the fun of it, let's go ahead and leave it with Windows 10. I'm going to create a virtual machine. So what this is doing is actually automatically downloading it, which is pretty sweet. On some other software, like for example Oracle here, Oracle VM VirtualBox, you have to actually find the image that you want to use. That's a good thing. Well, okay, so this is a good thing, I suppose. This makes it easier. You don't have to go fetch it and this and that, unless there's an option to, you know, allow more options here, which I kind of didn't catch there for a moment. But let me see. Does it allow me to pull up another one here? Yes, it does. So this allows you to install local installation source as well. Well, that's pretty cool. So when you click it, you can just have to select the image that you want. So that's cool. For a second, I thought it didn't have that. So I'm just going to wait for it to install Windows 10 development environment. It's actually a really large size, which is kind of surprising. So I'm going to fast forward the video to the point where it's done installing, and then we're going to test that out. Anyways, it's the same in Oracle VirtualBox, but Oracle VirtualBox is actually a bit more complicated than this, but it does allow you to do more compared to Hyper-V. But you know what? I digress. Let's see how well this performs after we install everything. So as this is completing, I want to talk about real quick about the reason why you would want to do virtual machine. Main reason for me is to learn how to use other operating system. For example, we could have installed Ubuntu on there and just kind of play around with it. But you know, in this case, I'm just going to install Windows 10 just so, because it's a random thing I picked, to be honest. But when it comes down to it, you really want to have enough RAM on your computer to run virtual machines. The reason for that being is, aside from testing new operating systems like Ubuntu or just different versions of Linux, if you want to run an actual server, you want to make sure you have enough RAM and CPU power allocated for that environment, for that virtual environment, right? See, this computer only has 4 gigs of RAM, so it'll be interesting to see how well that actually handles it. I suspect that it might be okay just for a little bit, but I mean, you know, as you can see, this computer itself, just to run, which is Windows 10 obviously, is using 2.5. So we'll see how well that runs. So if you want to run especially multiple virtual machines, you might want to add a lot more RAM. And I have a video on basically building a machine that, you know, does that, specifically designed for virtual machines. I can go ahead and link at the end of this video so you guys can check it out. Okay, extracting disk from image archive took a bit because I probably selected installation to be done on a magnetic hard drive. So let's see what happens here. Virtual machine created successfully. And we have 2 options here. It says connect and edit settings. I'm going to click edit settings because I want to see what's going on here. These are some of the settings here, and it looks like you can add certain hardware. You can add SCSI controllers, network adapters, and this and that. Now, what is this? Remote FX 3D video adapter enables. Wow, so that's pretty cool. You can add a GPU, I guess, that does the processing. That's really cool. That's something I would want to look into, like if somebody wants to, because, you know, I don't know if you guys heard of PCs that you can set up. It's like a central PC, but it has really powerful GPU. You can possibly set up virtual machines that allows multiple users to connect to it and use the resources of that, and basically share that CPU and GPU power through the virtual machine. That's really cool, actually. Fiber channel adapter. And let's see what else. Firmware, default switch, secure boot enabled. Okay, that's cool. Memory allocated by default looks like 2 gigabytes. So we'll see how well that goes. And it looks like dynamic memory is available. Basically, it's virtual memory. Wow. Okay, okay. All right, that's cool. It assigned 2 virtual processors out of 4 that I have. So I'm okay with that, but looks like you can tweak any of these things. So if you wanted to add more RAM or less, you can do that. They can adjust the amount of CPUs used. Network adapter uses a default switch, a virtual switch. Basically, it's just going to route it through my network adapter down here, which is normal. And then we get some management down here. Checkpoints. This is something that, let's see here. By the way, I changed the path for the image itself because I didn't have enough room on C. So if you remember that earlier, I actually changed it to my D drive. Anyways, that's pretty cool so far. It doesn't seem like anything complicated. Looks like everything is already set up properly. So let's see what happens. Okay, the virtual machine is turned off. Okay, let's start it. So let's see here. I'm going to make this bigger here, hopefully. Let's see, how do I do that? Windows 10 environment failed. The virtual machine Windows 10 could not be set because a hypervisor is not running. What is hypervisor? Huh. So far it was great, and then suddenly it's not running. So whenever you get an error like that, it says hypervisor is not running, for example, or something is not running, that means that there's usually a service that's not running in the background. So we're going to check that here right now. All right, let's open up our task manager and look at services. Hypervisor. Let's see if we can find hypervisor in here. Hypervisor. Hypervisor. H. I don't see it. I probably should have sorted by name, right? Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. That's how I know my alphabet. I have to actually recall it. All right. HV host, which I'm assuming is the one that we need. Because, it says HV and hypervisor. But I wanted to see more detail about it. It says it stopped there. Okay, here we go. We're going to squeeze this through. There it is. I wanted to expand this here a little bit here. You can say it stopped here. Local system network restriction. So we're going to right click and start it. By the way, you can change this to start up automatically. This is done in the services menu. So if you open services, you can tell it to start automatically if you want this to run all the time. Here we go. Here's the Hyper-V host service. And right now it's set to manual, and you can change that to start automatically. Anyways, I'm going to minimize that. Wow, it crashed my computer. It crashed my computer. Oh, there it is. There it is. Wow. There you go, guys. If you don't have enough RAM, this is not something you necessarily want to do. All right, let's try it again. I'm just going to continue, see if it'll start now. Hypervisor is not running. All right, well, maybe that wasn't it. Let's trigger it here from the services. Start. A device attached to the system is not functioning. That's interesting. Huh. Remote desktop, heartbeat service. I'm going to do a reboot of this computer, see if that helps. This might resolve our issues. I'm just going to go do a reboot real quick, then we're going to start this again. All right, let's try this again. Here we go. Here we go. After reboot, we're going to launch our Hyper-V manager. And there's our Windows 10 environment that we installed earlier. We're going to try it again. Hopefully the Hyper-V, everything that it needs to run is running. Connect. I'm going to start it. Okay, it's trying to start. Oh, error again. Hypervisor is not running. All right, let's try it again. Services. I feel like I really shouldn't have to do any of this. Maybe there are limitations or prerequisites to run it, like not enough RAM, it won't run or something like that. But you can see it stopped there again. It stopped again. It won't start. Start. Huh. All right, well, let's go to services. This is very interesting to, this is a good way to learn to do some of the troubleshooting. Host service. Device attached to the system is not functioning. Okay, let's see what that means. I don't know what it means because, as I've stated, I haven't used this application before, so let's find out together what that means. A device attached to the system is not functioning. Is not functioning. Let's see what happens. Here we go. JackieChan.org talking about the same error. All right, let's go to this first one. So this dude's getting the same error. I had an identical problem, was fortunately able to fix it. All I need to do is remove Hyper-V using Control Panel, restart Windows, reinstall all Hyper-V components, and restart Windows. I found that Hyper-V host service was already running, could not be even started manually before these changes. See, this is something I shouldn't have to do. Like, really. This may fix it, but really, like, I've never used it, as you guys saw. This is the only instance that I've installed on there. First time using it, and it does that. That's very, very, very disappointing. I kind of hate to see this coming to an end like so. But if this is the fix for it, to reinstall everything, then at this point I don't really want to use it. You know what I mean? And I cannot, I mean, maybe it's just bad luck here, but I mean, if this issue's been around since 2015 and it happens like so in 2019, then I mean, look, actually since 2013. And there's no clear-cut like answer pointing me to what the problem is. So yeah, I'm just not gonna use it. You know, I'm just gonna use my good old until they fix this type of stuff, Oracle Virtual Machine Box. If you want to see a video on this, I already have a couple of them, and I will link my most recent one to this if you guys want to check it out. Alright, I'm sorry I couldn't demonstrate this properly, but it's not my fault. And I honestly don't want to reinstall all this again, just for the hell of it. If somebody out there, if one of you guys know exactly what my problem is, I'll be more than glad to entertain the idea of doing everything together, or doing everything over again. So like if it's something silly that that should have been like, you don't have enough RAM or something like that, or whatever, it would have told me that on the setup, like, wouldn't you think? So I really wish I could have demonstrated this properly, because some of the features that were in there looked really cool, and some of it was simple. It looked like it was simple to install. All right, if you like this video, please click that like button, share it with your buddies, ask them what they think that my problem is here, so yeah, if you have any questions, comments, want to say hi, please do so in the comments box below. Thank you guys, have a good one, see you next time, bye bye.